All right. Ready to dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Sounds good.
We're going to break down those key financial lessons from Robert Kiyosaki. It's really cool how Kiyosaki uses his own life as a case study.
Right. It's like he's got those two dads.
Exactly.
His own poor dad.
Yeah.
And his friends, like rich dad.
Yes.
And they kind of clash over money.
It's such a perfect setup
Yeah.
for explaining his whole philosophy.
Definitely.
Okay, so Kiyosaki's first big lesson
All right.
is all about how the rich don't work for money.
Oh, okay.
And this isn't some kind of like live off the grid thing.
Right.
It's about shifting our perspective on work.
Gotcha.
You know that story about 9-year-old Kiyosaki working for his rich dad?
Oh, yeah. For like peanuts, right?
Literally 10 cents an hour.
Uh-huh.
Kiyosaki and his friend Mike were thrilled.
I bet.
They even ended up working for free eventually.
Oh, wow.
The other adults thought they were nuts.
I mean, I feel like I would have thought that too. Like, hold out for a better wage.
That would have been the smart move back then, yeah.
Exactly.
But the rich dad was playing a longer game.
Oh, I see.
He wanted them to taste the trap
Okay.
of chasing a paycheck.
Interesting.
To see how it could actually limit you.
Like, it's almost like he was saying, hey, look,
Yeah.
if you're always working for someone else, you're always playing by their rule.
You're stuck.
Yeah.
And then Kiyosaki hits us with that iconic line, the poor and the middle class work for money.
Oh, yeah.
The rich have money work for them.
It's so simple,
So simple,
but it's so true.
yet so profound.
Right. Right.
But what does that actually mean for us
Yeah.
in our everyday lives?
Good question. I think for me, like, it's about building a system
Okay.
where your money is constantly like generating more money, even while you sleep,
Gotcha.
instead of just trading your time for dollars.
So you're building assets
Exactly.
that work for you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so Kiyosaki's second lesson.
All right.
This one really resonated with me.
Okay.
It's not how much you make,
Oh, yeah.
it's how much you keep.
Right.
He uses this example of a young basketball player who goes from millionaire to broke.
Oh,
Heartbreaking, but it happens all the time.
I know. And it just underscores, right,
Yeah.
how crucial financial literacy is.
It's not just about earning.
Mm-hmm.
It's about understanding how money flows.
Right. Like Kiyosaki has that diagram, right?
Yes.
An asset puts money in your pocket and a liability takes it out.
It's so simple, but we mess this up so often.
I know, it's true.
I mean, how many times have you heard someone say, my house is my biggest asset?
Oh, all the time.
But here's the catch.
Yeah.
We often misidentify liabilities as assets.
Okay.
Like you might think that shiny new car is an asset, but if it's costing you a fortune in payments and insurance and repairs,
It's really not.
it's actually draining your account,
Yeah,
making it a liability.
it's true. And that brings up like a good question, like for you.
Yeah.
Like, what are you spending your hard-earned cash on?
That is a good question.
Yeah.
Are you buying things that appreciate in value
Yeah.
and generate income?
Or are you stuck in that cycle
Ugh.
of just buying liabilities?
It's a tough question, but
It is.
so important to consider.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's move on to lesson 3.
Okay.
Mind your own business.
All right.
And before you picture us all quitting our jobs,
Right.
he's not just talking about becoming an entrepreneur.
Okay.
He's talking about building assets,
Gotcha.
about creating financial independence.
Okay, I see.
Think about Ray Kroc and McDonald's.
Oh, yeah. Crux was a genius.
Right.
He saw that the real gold wasn't just in the burgers.
Hmm.
It was in the land
The land.
that those golden arches were sitting on.
Owning the real estate.
Yeah.
That was his long game.
Exactly.
That's what Kiyosaki means by minding your own business.
I see. Yeah.
It's about creating multiple streams of income,
Uh-huh.
building something that works for you outside of your 9 to 5.
Right.
Maybe it's rental properties. Maybe it's investing in the stock market.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a side hustle that you love.
Yeah.
The key is it's yours.
It's yours. I like that. It's about like understanding the difference too
Yes.
between your profession and your business.
Tell me more about it.
Well, like your profession might be what you do for a living,
Oh.
but your business,
Yeah.
that's how you make your money work for you,
Okay.
even while you're busy with that profession.
I love that. And speaking of working smart, lesson 4 dives into the history of taxes
Okay.
and the power of corporations.
All right.
Now, I know taxes aren't exactly dinner party conversation,
No, not really.
but Kiyosaki argues that the rich don't just pay more.
Oh, interesting.
They play the game differently.
Okay.
They have financial advisors
Right.
who help them legally minimize their tax burden.
That makes sense.
Kiyosaki calls the tax man the biggest bully
Oh, wow.
because he'll take what he can get
Yeah,
if you let him.
that's true.
Understanding how corporations can offer tax advantages is crucial.
For sure.
For example, if you have a side hustle,
Yeah.
incorporating it could potentially save you a ton in taxes.
Interesting.
There are specific deductions and write-offs
Okay.
available to businesses
Right.
that you wouldn't get as an individual.
Gotcha.
Of course, you always want to consult a tax professional.
Right, of course.
But even having like a basic understanding
Yeah.
of these strategies can make a huge difference
I bet.
in your financial life.
Absolutely. Financial literacy is about knowing the rules of the game
Yes.
and understanding how to use them to your advantage.
Okay, and for me, this next lesson is a total game changer.
All right, what is it?
The rich invent money.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Kiyosaki compares Alexander Graham Bell,
Okay.
the bold inventor of the telephone,
Yeah.
to a manager who gets laid off and is crippled by fear and insecurity.
Wow.
It's a powerful juxtaposition.
Yeah.
He's highlighting how fear and self-doubt can hold us back,
I feel that.
not just financially,
Right.
but in all areas of life.
It's true. They prevent us from taking risks. Right.
Yes.
And even seeing opportunities.
Exactly. Kiyosaki argues that the rich are willing to think outside the box,
Okay.
to be creative,
Uh-huh.
and find solutions where others see obstacles.
I like that.
And then he talks about inventing money.
Which sounds crazy, I know.
It does sound crazy. Right.
But I think, like, what he means is,
Yeah.
he uses that example, like, of buying a house with no money down, right?
Yes.
Using these creative financing strategies that most people don't even know about.
Most people don't even know exist.
It's like he's saying, look, you got to see the possibilities where others see roadblocks.
It's inspiring, but also a bit intimidating.
Yeah, I can see that.
It makes me wonder, what areas in my own life am I holding back in because of fear?
Yeah.
What opportunities am I missing out on?
It's a question we should all be asking ourselves.
Totally.
It's easy to get caught up in the safe path, right?
Yeah.
That familiar routine.
The comfort zone.
But sometimes the greatest rewards come from stepping outside of that.
I like that. And that leads perfectly into Kiyosaki's 6th lesson.
All right, let's hear it.
Work to learn, don't work for money.
Ooh, that's good.
He talks about how he deliberately switched jobs throughout his career.
Okay.
Not always for a bigger paycheck,
Interesting.
but to gain new skills and knowledge.
So he's advocating for, like, a growth mindset
Yes.
for always being a student.
Always being a student. The more you know, the more opportunities will open up for you.
I agree with that.
It's about building a diverse skill set
Uh-huh.
that makes you adaptable
Right.
and valuable in any economy.
That's a good point.
He even uses this funny analogy of the 98-pound weakling
Oh, yeah.
from those old comic book ads. You know, the scrawny guy gets sand kicked in his face.
Yeah, I remember those.
He says that financial pressure can be like that bully.
Oh, interesting.
It can either crush you
Right.
or motivate you to get stronger,
I like that.
to learn new skills and build your financial muscles.
It's like reframing challenges, right?
Yes.
Instead of seeing financial pressure as a negative, you see it as an opportunity for growth.
Exactly. And it ties back to his earlier lessons about minding your own business, right?
Uh-huh.
And having money work for you.
Yeah.
If you have a diverse skill set and multiple streams of income, you're less vulnerable to those financial bullies.
That's such a good point. It's not just about working harder.
Right
It's
there.
about working smart.
Working smart.
It's about being proactive,
Yeah.
constantly learning.
Yeah, and building a financial foundation that can weather any storm.
So much to think about already. What are some of your initial takeaways?
Well, what's really standing out to me is the emphasis on mindset,
Okay.
you know? It's like he's not just giving financial advice.
Yeah.
He's challenging us to examine our beliefs
Okay.
about money, about work, about risk.
Right.
It's about adopting a new perspective,
I love that.
one that empowers us to create wealth and build a life of abundance.
I love that.
Yeah, it's like he's saying we need to kind of rewrite our internal money scripts,
Oh, interesting.
those subconscious beliefs, right,
Yeah.
that shape our financial decisions.
Totally. And that leads right back to that fundamental concept of assets versus liabilities.
Oh, yeah.
Kiyosaki hammers this point home,
For good reason.
and for good reason.
Yeah.
It's the foundation of his entire philosophy. Remember, an asset puts money in your pocket,
Uh-huh.
and a liability takes it out.
He actually calls it the only rule you need to know. To become rich,
Simple,
But powerful.
But it's so easy to mess up.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have you heard someone say their house is their biggest asset?
Oh, it's a classic misconception.
Right.
We're conditioned to think of our homes, our cars, even our fancy clothes as symbols of wealth.
Yeah.
But if they're not generating income
Uh-huh.
and they're costing you money to maintain,
Right.
they're liabilities, no matter how nice they look.
It's like Kiyosaki says, we often end up working for our liabilities instead of having our assets work for us.
Exactly.
He tells this story about a young couple who get caught in the rat race.
Yeah, I remember that.
They get a raise, upgrade their lifestyle, buy a bigger house, a nicer car, and suddenly they're drowning in debt.
Their expenses rise to meet their income.
Ugh. It's like they're on a treadmill working harder and harder just to stay in the same place.
Exactly. And then taxes come along and take a huge bite out of whatever's left.
Right.
Kiyosaki points out that for a lot of us, Social Security is actually our biggest tax burden.
Oh, wow. I never thought about it that way.
It's not something we usually think about,
Oh.
but it's true. Like when you factor in your employer's matching contribution,
Yeah.
it's essentially a 15% tax right off the bat,
Wow.
even before your income tax is calculated.
That's mind-blowing. It's
Yeah.
mind-blowing how much we're actually paying in taxes
Right.
and how little we often understand about the system.
That's true. That's why financial literacy is so important.
Yes.
It's about taking control,
Uh-huh.
understanding the rules,
Yeah?
and making informed decisions that benefit you,
Right.
not just the government or the banks.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's circle back to that idea of minding your own business.
Okay.
It's not just about starting a company, right?
No.
What's the deeper meaning here?
I think it's about shifting your focus, right?
Okay.
From earning income to building assets.
Okay.
Creating a system where your money works for you even when you're not actively working.
So instead of just relying on your paycheck, you're building wealth through investments, real estate, side hustles.
Yeah, anything that generates income independent of your job.
Think of Ray Kroc again.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't just selling burgers.
Uh-huh.
He was building an empire of real estate assets that generated passive income.
Exactly.
That's such a brilliant strategy.
Yeah.
But for someone who's not a real estate mogul,
Yeah.
what are some practical ways to apply this minding your own business concept?
There are so many possibilities. Like it could be rental properties,
Okay.
dividend-paying stocks,
Okay.
creating and selling online courses,
Yeah.
building an app, or even something as simple as starting a blog that generates income through advertising.
Okay.
The key is to find something that aligns with your interests and skills
I love that.
and start building.
It's about diversifying your income streams,
Exactly.
creating a safety net that doesn't rely solely on a job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Kiyosaki also emphasizes the importance of understanding taxes, right?
Yes.
And how corporations can be used to your advantage.
Okay. He argues that the rich don't just pay more taxes.
Right.
They use their knowledge to minimize their tax burden legally.
It's about playing the game smart,
Uh-huh.
knowing the rules,
Yeah.
and using them to your benefit.
He has this great little rhyme
Okay.
that his rich dad taught him.
What is it?
If you hate risk and worry, start early.
It's all about the power of compound interest, right?
Exactly.
The earlier you start investing, the more time your money has to grow exponentially.
He uses the example of the purchase of Manhattan Island, right? For $24.
Wow.
Imagine if that money had been invested instead
Right.
at a decent interest rate.
Yeah.
It would be worth trillions today.
It's crazy to think about, but what about those of us who didn't start investing in our teens?
Yeah.
Is it too late to catch up?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Kiyosaki's a big believer in the Texas attitude when it comes to money.
What does that mean?
He says Texans aren't afraid to go big, even if it means risking it all. So it's about embracing risk,
Uh-huh.
even the possibility of failure.
He says the greatest reason for financial failure is playing it too safe.
I see.
It's that fear of losing that keeps people stuck.
Okay.
He's adamant that winners aren't afraid of losing, but losers are.
But how do you overcome that fear? It can be paralyzing, especially when it comes to our finances.
Well, Kiyosaki's rich dad had a great strategy.
Okay.
If you hate risk and worry, start early.
Right.
The earlier you start, the more time you have to recover from any losses.
That makes sense.
But even if you're starting later in life,
Yeah.
the key is to take action,
Okay.
to educate yourself,
Uh-huh.
and to surround yourself with people who can support and guide you.
So it's about acknowledging the fear, but not letting it dictate your decisions.
Exactly. And along with conquering fear, Kiyosaki talks about the importance of overcoming cynicism, too.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in negativity, especially when it comes to money.
Cynicism can be a real wealth killer. It blinds us to opportunities and keeps us stuck in a scarcity mindset.
Kiyosaki encourages us to analyze situations, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just criticizing them.
Okay.
He says, winners look for solutions,
Uh-huh.
while cynics just complain.
It's about focusing on what you can control, not what you can't.
Exactly. And then there's laziness,
Oh, yeah.
which Kiyosaki says is often disguised as busyness.
Interesting.
It's not just about physical laziness.
Okay.
It's about mental laziness,
Uh-huh.
about being passive instead of proactive.
Gotcha.
It's about taking responsibility for your financial well-being,
Yeah.
educating yourself,
Right.
and putting in the effort to build a solid foundation.
Kiyosaki emphasizes mastering a formula and then learning a new one.
Oh,
He
yeah.
compares it to baking bread.
I like that analogy.
Every baker has their go-to recipe,
Right.
but the best bakers are always experimenting,
Yeah.
trying new techniques,
Uh-huh.
and expanding their repertoire.
It's the same with money. Most people only know one formula. Work for money.
Right.
Go to school, get a job, pay bills, repeat.
It's a cycle that can be hard to break free from.
It can be. But Kiyosaki urges us to explore different formulas.
Right.
Different ways of making money work for us.
And that leads to one of his most famous principles, paying yourself first.
Yeah.
It's a simple concept,
Uh-huh.
but so difficult for many people to implement.
I agree.
It's about prioritizing your financial well-being above all else.
Right.
Putting money into your asset column before you pay bills or buy anything else.
He says that the pressure of having to come up with the money, right,
Yeah.
forces you to be more resourceful, more creative.
It's like that 98-pound weakling again, using the pressure of the bully to get stronger.
Exactly. And along with paying yourself first, Kiyosaki talks about overcoming bad habits too.
Okay, like what?
Like dipping into your savings to pay bills.
Oh, yeah.
It's tempting to do in a pinch,
It is.
but it can sabotage your long-term financial goals.
It's like treating your savings account like an emergency fund
Yeah.
instead of an investment fund.
The rich understand that savings are meant to create more money,
Right.
not to cover expenses.
Okay.
They're constantly looking for ways to grow their asset column,
Right.
not just maintain their current lifestyle.
And Kiyosaki's rich dad had this brilliant saying about arrogance.
What is it?
What I know makes me money.
Okay.
What I don't know loses me money.
So true. Arrogance can be a huge blind spot.
Right.
When you think you know everything, you stop learning.
Yeah.
And in the world of finance, things are constantly changing.
Right.
You need to be a lifelong learner to stay ahead of the curve.
So we've got fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, and arrogance.
Yeah.
5 major obstacles to building wealth, according to Kiyosaki.
He argues that these are the internal barriers, right?
Yeah.
That hold most people back.
Okay.
More than any external factors like the economy or the government.
It's about taking ownership, shifting our mindset, and making conscious choices that align with our financial goals.
And to help us on that journey, Kiyosaki outlines 10 steps to financial freedom.
Okay, let's hear them.
He emphasizes that it's not about getting rich quick.
Right.
It's about building a solid foundation
Ah.
and developing the right skills and mindset for long-term success.
Let's break those down, starting with step 1.
Okay.
Find a reason greater than reality. Sounds pretty deep.
It is deep.
What's he getting at here?
I think it's about having a powerful why, right?
Okay.
That fuels your motivation.
Okay.
Something that drives you to overcome challenges.
Yeah.
And stay committed to your goals even when things get tough.
So it's about connecting to something deeper than just wanting more money.
Exactly. Kiyosaki talks about how his desire to help his father, right, escape financial struggles, that was a major driving force for him.
Okay.
It was about making a difference, not just making a profit.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, step 2. Make daily choices. This sounds pretty straightforward,
Yeah,
but I imagine it's easier said than done.
absolutely. It's about taking consistent action, even small steps,
Yeah.
that align with your long-term goals.
Okay.
It's about developing good financial habits and making conscious decisions that support your vision.
So instead of mindlessly swiping your credit card,
Right.
you're thinking about every purchase, every financial decision
Uh-huh.
in terms of how it impacts your overall financial well-being.
Precisely. And step 3 is choose friends carefully.
Oh, interesting.
This one might seem a little out there, but Kiyosaki makes a good point.
He says you want to be around people who are smarter than you when it comes to money.
Yeah.
You want to learn from their experiences and expand your financial network.
It's not about ditching your old friends, right?
Right.
It's about being intentional about who you surround yourself with and who you learn from.
Okay, step 4 is master a formula and then learn a new one.
Oh, yeah.
This ties back to his emphasis on continuous learning and adapting to a changing world.
He's always pushing us to expand our knowledge, right?
Yes.
To master a skill and then move on to the next challenge.
Like a baker learning a new recipe, as he mentioned earlier.
Okay.
You don't just stick with the same old loaf. You experiment, you innovate, you create something new and delicious.
Exactly. And step 5, as we've already discussed, is pay yourself first.
Right.
This one is all about discipline
Yes.
and prioritizing your financial future.
It's about putting your money where your goals are. Building that strong financial foundation before you indulge in anything else.
Step 6 might raise some eyebrows.
Okay.
Pay your brokers well. Now, this doesn't mean throwing money at anyone with a fancy suit.
Right.
It's about recognizing the value of expert advice.
Yeah.
Finding trusted advisors who are invested in your success and willing to go the extra mile to help you achieve your goals.
Kiyosaki argues that good brokers, financial advisors, and other professionals can save you time, money, and headaches in the long run.
Absolutely. It's about investing in your financial education
Okay.
and building a team of experts who have your back.
I like that. Step 7 is be an Indian giver. I know that term can be problematic, but Kiyosaki uses it metaphorically here.
Yes, he does.
And I think it's important to understand the context.
He's talking about the concept of getting your money back from investments as quickly as possible.
Okay.
He uses the example of buying a property, right?
Yeah.
And then refinancing it to get your initial investment back.
Okay.
So you still own the asset, but have your capital freed up to invest in something else.
It's a clever strategy, but it requires a certain level of sophistication
It does.
and understanding of how investments work.
Absolutely. It's not a beginner's tactic,
Right.
but it illustrates the importance of thinking outside the box
Yeah.
and finding creative ways to leverage your money.
Step 8 is one I think we can all get behind. Use assets to buy luxuries.
It's about delaying gratification and making your money work for you before you splurge.
Kiyosaki observes that the poor and middle class tend to buy luxuries first,
Yeah.
while the rich buy them last. They buy the big house, the fancy car, the designer clothes before they've built up their asset column,
Right.
which often leads to debt and financial struggle.
The rich, on the other hand, focus on building their wealth first.
Okay.
They invest in assets that generate income, and then they use that income to buy the things they want.
That's a much more sustainable approach.
It is.
Step 9 might seem a bit philosophical, but I think it's powerful. Choose heroes.
Yes.
Kiyosaki believes in the power of role models.
Yeah.
People who inspire us to achieve great things.
He talks about how he looked up to baseball legends, right?
Yes.
Like Willie Mays and Hank Aaron as a kid.
Yeah.
He studied their techniques, their work ethic,
Yeah.
and it fueled his own desire to excel.
It's about finding people who embody the qualities you admire and letting their example guide you.
And finally, step 10 is all about giving back. Teach, and you shall receive.
Oh, I like that one.
Kiyosaki believes in the power of sharing your knowledge and helping others succeed.
It's about creating a cycle of abundance, understanding that the more you give, the more you receive in return.
And it ties back to his emphasis on continuous learning.
Yes.
When you teach, you're constantly reinforcing your own knowledge and understanding.
Wow, those 10 steps are packed with wisdom.
They are.
It's amazing how Kiyosaki manages to distill such complex ideas into simple, actionable steps.
It's a roadmap to financial freedom, but it's also a roadmap to personal growth and fulfillment.
Yeah, it's like he's saying financial freedom, it isn't just about money, it's about mastering, like your mindset, your habits, and like your approach to life, I guess.
It's about taking control of your destiny and creating a life of abundance, not just financially, but in all areas.
And it's inspiring to think that this kind of transformation is possible for, like, anyone.
Right.
Regardless of their background or current circumstances. Kiyosaki reminds us that it's okay to be afraid.
Right.
Even to make mistakes along the way. Everyone experiences fear,
Oh, for sure.
Even the most successful people. The key is not letting it paralyze you.
Yeah. He talks about how his rich dad encouraged him to, embrace risk.
Okay.
To think like a Texan.
Oh, yeah?
To be bold and, go after what you want. even if it means failing sometimes.
It's about having the courage to step outside your comfort zone, to try new things, and to learn from your experiences, even the not-so-great ones.
And it's about being a lifelong learner, too.
Right.
Constantly seeking out knowledge
Yeah.
and expanding your skills. I mean, Kiyosaki says the world is full of talented people
Yeah.
who never reach their full potential
Right.
because they don't understand how to manage their money.
That's heartbreaking to think about, all that wasted potential. But it also highlights the power of financial literacy, right? It's not just about knowing how to make money. It's about knowing how to make it work for you, how to grow it, how to protect it, and how to use it to create a life you love.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Kiyosaki encourages us to find mentors, read books, attend seminars. Just do whatever it takes to keep learning and growing. The more you know, the more opportunities will open up for you.
And along with seeking out knowledge, he talks about the importance of overcoming those internal obstacles that can hold us back. Those negative thought patterns and habits that sabotage our success. He calls out cynicism, laziness, and arrogance as three of the biggest wealth killers.
He's spot on about cynicism. It's so easy to fall into that trap, right?
Yeah.
Of criticizing and complaining,
Yeah.
focusing on what's wrong instead of what's possible. Kiyosaki encourages us to analyze situations, instead of just reacting to them, to look for solutions instead of dwelling on problems.
And laziness, as he defines it, isn't just about being physically inactive, right?
Right.
It's about being mentally passive, about letting life happen to you instead of taking control and creating the life you want.
You got it. It's about taking responsibility for your financial well-being, educating yourself, and putting in the effort to build a solid foundation.
He also talks about the importance of finding good advisors, people who are truly invested in your success. He even recommends paying your brokers well, because their expertise can ultimately make you more money in the long run.
I mean, it makes sense. It's about building a team of trusted professionals who have your best interests at heart, people who can guide you, support you, and help you navigate the complexities of the financial world.
And remember that unconventional advice about being an Indian giver?
Oh, yeah.
It's all about getting your money back from investments as quickly as possible so you can reinvest it and keep the momentum going.
Right. He uses that example of buying a property, fixing it up, and then refinancing it, right, to get your initial investment back. You still own the asset, but now you have your capital freed up to invest in something else. It's a powerful strategy, but it definitely requires knowledge and expertise.
For sure. It's like he's saying, don't be afraid to think outside the box, Explore different strategies and get creative with your investments.
I like it. And remember his advice about using assets to buy luxuries. It's all about delaying gratification, right?
Yeah.
Making your money work for you before you splurge.
It's about building a solid financial foundation first, investing in things that will generate income and grow your wealth over time. Then once you have that financial security, you can enjoy the finer things in life guilt-free, knowing that your assets are working hard for you.
Yeah, it's much more sustainable and fulfilling than going into debt to buy things you can't really afford.
Right, and let's not forget the importance of finding heroes, people who inspire you to reach for your dreams.
Kiyosaki believes that having positive role models can have a profound impact on our lives.
For sure.
Especially when it comes to achieving financial success. It's about surrounding yourself with people who embody the qualities you admire and letting their example guide you.
And finally, there's the power of giving back, of sharing your knowledge and helping others succeed. Teach and you shall receive, Kiyosaki says, emphasizing that the more you give, the more you receive in return.
Yeah, it's about creating a cycle of abundance, right? Understanding that your success is interconnected with the success of others. It's a beautiful way to live, don't you think?
Absolutely. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is more than just a book about money. It's a book about life, about mindset, about taking control of your destiny and creating a future filled with possibility and abundance.
As a call to action,
Yeah.
to examine our beliefs, challenge the status quo, and step into our power as creators of our own financial reality.
So what will you do with this knowledge? What actions will you take to improve your financial intelligence and create a life of greater freedom and fulfillment? We hope this deep dive has given you some valuable insights and inspiration to start building your own path to financial success. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.